Hello and welcome back to Panda Bricks, where today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the LEGO Bricklink 910003 Mountain Windmill. This set retailed for £133 through the AFOL designer program. Of course, on the front of the box we have a very simple design just showing the front of the windmill. If I spin this around, it has what I call the lazy Bricklink box art because the back of the box literally just shows the back of the set. With nothing else, we can see some of the interior details, and I will now show you the finished model. So here is the model all built up, and it's a pretty hard one to show on camera due to the height and shape of it. This actually took me quite a while to build, mainly due to the instructions. If you didn't know, AFOL designer program sets do not include physical instructions, which is one of the few gripes about the kind of theme. You can either use the LEGO instructions app, which is what I use for most of this build, and it is very frustrating. And I was doing it on a bit of an older device, so it was very slow, very laggy. And I only found out at the end of the build that there are actually PDFs for these sets. So if you do have any of the AFOL designer program sets to build, I highly recommend using the PDFs. But, as I mentioned, a pretty considerable size. At the bottom we have this rocky formation, which is built around some big ugly rock pieces. And then we have this rounded grey section, just using a couple of hinges. And then on the right we have this whole kind of house section. This was extremely unstable when building, but it's got okay stability now. And this set is completely open on the back, so there's not a huge amount of depth. But we can see some nice detail. The windows don't actually have windows in them, which is a little bit odd. And right on the right you can see a nice little cherry blossom tree or something like that. I'm not too sure, but that adds some nice colour. There are a lot of small little flowers that are very easy to knock off, but I do think they add some nice colour to the build. And then for the windmill itself, it's a pretty repetitive build with 6 very similar segments, and it does actually spin, although I probably can't show you it, but I'll show you it in a moment anyway. So having a look at the back, there's not a huge amount of detail here. We can see there are quite a few larger pieces used in the build. At the bottom we have another big ugly rock piece, which I've just broken a piece off. But you can remove this and you will see there's some detail down there. A box with some stuff in it. I'm not really too sure what that is. On the next floor we have a staircase which leads to this other section, but we have a bookshelf, so a very empty room. And then here we have a bluebird and whatever that thing is with a white tile. And finally up here we have a bottle and a mouse with some cheese. So those top rooms, or all of these rooms for a matter of fact, not very much detail at all. And then down here we have a ladder, so the minifigs can get access to this section. So it is a bit confusing because you get to this section, this ladder's just fallen off. And then there's no real way to get up to this section here, even though there's this ladder. Actually, no, you can go up the ladder and then go there. So it's all a bit of a weird setup, this set. So looking at the main section of this build, we have these pillars of log bricks, another small ladder. But again, not much detail. If I move this, we can see a table, which unfortunately this plate piece here, represented by a dish, it's loose, which is never good. I never like that, very easy to lose. And up here we just have a telescope with a green bench. Then here we have another thing that I'm not sure what it is, but it does seem to have a quill pen there. There's also a box with an umbrella. And right at the top there is a bed. As you can see, this set only has half or less than half of a roof up top, which is not the most strong. It's rather wobbly. By that I mean very wobbly, as it is using these turntable pieces and a lot of hinges. And then on the very top, this section with the windmill, we have this white thing that I'm again not sure what it is. I know this is a very technical review, that's why it's called a not review. And then on the top we have this nice texture using some sand green. And then we have these 2 colours of pink cheese wedges if you get at just the right angle, which I'm probably not going to be able to, they kind of look like the same colour and the dark ones are just like shadows. But to be honest, I think this is a bit of a strange colour choice, having a pink roof to this thing. It could have been nice with more nougat as shown on the front there, or a mix of colours. Then here we can see the crank, which I'm not sure why it sticks out so much. It's pretty wobbly. I'm doing this one-handed, as you can probably tell, as I am holding the camera. And you do have to be careful not to be hit by the windmill. And also, if you rotate this too far, it is on a turntable, you will end up hitting the house, which is not ideal. So I shall try and show you this from the front, but for the interior, not a huge amount of detail, though there's some great texture on the exterior. So there you can see, you can get some pretty decent speed on it, if that's what we want to talk about. You can see this whole top section is pretty wobbly, so it really is a two-handed operation, but when you're trying to film a review video at the same time, that's just not possible. So there is the completed model. It should look really nice on display, although it is pretty fragile even when completed. A lot of the weak points were strengthened up during the build, but it's still definitely not a model you'd be wanting to play with. But yeah, really love all the little texture and detail. Also, there are a lot of things on hinges that just move around like this. Here has fallen down. But I really like the colour scheme and the rustic feel of this set. And then talking about value, I'm not sure of the piece count of the set for you price per piece people, but this set, as I mentioned earlier, cost £133, a very weird amount that they absolutely love using in the AFOL designer program. I think this represents decent value, but as well as not having much detail in the interior, the other problem I have with this set, there are no minifigs. This could really just do with a couple, I think maybe 4 nice minifigs would really bring the set to life. Especially helps when you actually know how to speak English, because it just feels a little bit lifeless without them. So that would really benefit the set. But that's about it for my thoughts on this set. I hope you found this not review informative. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.